Okay, on the 350 batch of restricted in this grouping, you can see that we've got hardly anything on the table. A lot of boxed pieces and a lot of fancy, for lack of a better word, a lot of stuff that isn't for use. So we're not going to be cycling anything in this first batch. Lot 350, you can see you're actually going to buy a lever gun with a restricted license, and obviously common sense dictates that we're not going to split up the set. So this is the Winchester / Colt commemorative set in the case. The case does have some weather damage, so full disclosure, I think he probably had it. Somebody had it under a crawl space. We're not going to cycle it. By all means, I'm not going to cycle it. Somebody has. You can see the tiniest little cylinder ring on there. So somebody has cycled this through. This the lever gun had the zippy tie on it when we got it, and this should have a zippy tie or some sexy type of zippy tie. But anyhow, so you have to have a restricted license to buy this one, even though there's the lever gun, because we're going to keep that set together. On the Alpha, we actually sold this to the estate, to Lindsay Mueller, and I don't remember if it was a year ago or 4 years ago. I mean, time flies. So we're not cycling that one either. This one was done. This is well described. So 350 Alpha in your catalog. And this is actually a reversible box. You can look at the other side of that gun without even touching it, just by closing it up. I'm not going to, well, maybe I'll try to display it and not screw up. So you latch it, so custom-made box. And then when you unlatch it the other direction, oh, I did it. You get to see the other side without actually having to manhandle it. So, of course, we're not going to start shooting that one down in the range. So that's oil derrick in there in gold. There's diamonds in there. And the KW, that was for Ken Wardlow, and he was part of a very active member of the, it still is, of the Colt Club. And then the custom-made box to go along with it. On C, I think we missed B. C's out of order here. Again, we're not going to cycle that. It probably has been cycled, but that's another commemorative piece, so we're just going to let that speak for itself. The Alberta Jubilee piece, we have sold these before. I don't know if it was this one. Not going to pretend to remember everything, but and it's got the custom fitted box to go with it, along with some of the documentation and so on. So you get that. Very nice piece. I think one of the favorites in the sale on Echo, this is the Rattlesnake. I'm going to open it up so you get a better look. It's likely it's been cycled. I don't know what they call that color, but very cool. And then, of course, those are Rattlesnake grips, and inside the envelope, you get the regular grips to go along with it. But, you know, the gold tone and the neat blue. Is it blue? It's like a titanium-looking thing. And then on this one here, let me get the little tag out of the way. I don't know if we sold this one to Lindsay as well on the single action. And there's a placard at the bottom there, Colt Firearms piece, all not inlaid, but gilded with the gold and little ivory inlays. Oil derrick on display down there. Of course, it comes out of that case. I'm not going to do that now while on camera and run the risk of doing something dumb. But again, a very, very respectable piece would make an awesome gift to yourself, because let's face it, we're all pretty selfish. But if you knew somebody who was in oil and also a Colt or a firearms guy, this would be the ultimate gift. So we're going to clear the table. As you can see, this is pretty greedy space takers, this particular series, the 350. So let's clear the tables and get another batch out. Again, the next little table full of 350 series, not series, but grouping of restricted pieces is mostly, except for two pieces that, again, we're not going to be cycling. This one here is the Robert E. Lee commemorative. Nice little single action with all the accoutrement to go along with it. It has been rotated. There is no denying that there is a cylinder ring on there. And but I'm not about to do it. I mean, let's face it, we all get kind of the urge. As soon as you pick something up, you got to play with it. But so somebody has done it in the past. That's fine. That's on them. But I'm not about to add to it. Whoever buys it can do whatever they want. And then the next one is the Grant. And I actually don't know. I do not see a cylinder. Well, maybe the tiniest little one, but not so much as the other one. And again, all the toys to go along with it. The flask is still in the bag, and the mold and whatnot. I think these caps are empty tins just for display. So those two, and on the tops of the boxes they're branded. On the hotel lot is the Nevada Centennial. So that's 1864 to 1964. So this is exactly as old as me, because I was born in 64. And you can see nobody got everybody has withheld the urge to go and shoot it, which is kind of neat because the silver cylinders are non-fluted in both pieces there. And you get the little Nevada token in the fitted case. So that's a pretty impressive piece. Again, we're not going to be handling stuff like that more than we need to. On Juliet, it's the Garibaldi piece. You can see the top sort of lithograph on the glass that would have had a little map and scroll work there. It is kind of coming off, and every now and again you open up the lid and you can see little tiny bits of evidence of it. Not going to pick this up and start cycling. If there's a cylinder ring on there, I don't even see it. There's the original tag, hanging tag. You get some of the documentation there. So again, just consider that to be in as new condition. Everything so far has been as new condition. On Kilo, this is a piece that was used. Silver Snake limited edition. It does have cylinder ring on it. It possibly has had a couple of rounds through it. But I'll tell you, so I'm not going to feel bad about cycling this one. Obviously, there's no reason to think you're going to have any sort of mechanical issue. The cycling on that when indexing is going to be perfect. It's possible it's never even actually been shot. I don't know for sure. But if it has, it got very well cleaned and put back away. And so the Silver Snake, you got a nice big bolt snake down there, nice big rubber grips. So that's a pretty impressive piece. And the Stalker on November, and again, it's been used. It's got a visible cylinder ring on it, a little bit of powder residue on it. So we'll cycle this one. So it's been shot a little bit. Leopold scope on it there. You see all the engraving all the way along, branded rubber grips. And we'll cycle this one a little bit for you, the Stalker in there on that side. And but again, no reason. And I'm pretty intimate with all these. And again, non-fluted cylinder. I'm pretty intimate with the collection. And so I already know that we're not going to experience any surprises. And the trigger on this one, I mean, they're all good as far as anything in that series. But it's like extra good. So bid on with confidence on that one. And then a couple of more on the mic. Let's close this up and show Mike first. This is the Buffalo Bill Cody one. A little plaque down there. This, of course, can come off. And you can get at it. Now, there's gold toning in there, so I'm assuming that it was plated over top of the gold tone, or is the gold tone over the silver? You know, I don't remember. I probably had a bit more working knowledge at the time, and possibly that's in the catalog. But then those of you that are interested already kind of have the answers anyhow. And then you've got the scrimshaw grips on the side there. So, of course, that can come out of that cabinet. Obviously, if you're buying it and we're shipping it to you, we're not just going to stuff that with newspaper and ship it the way it is. It would be shipped as a separate, take the firearm out, package it appropriately. 125th anniversary single action Colt in the fitted case. We're not going to cycle. There is no need to do it, and I don't see any cylinder ring on there. So then, again, you're buying this as a brand new piece. If somebody did have the urge to pull the trigger, there is virtually no evidence of it. So we're not done the 350s yet, though. We still have lots more to come. So we're going to clear this table and run another little batch for you. The last little batch of the 350s is a mixed bag of those that we don't touch and those that we do. On the Quebec, this is the St. Augustine commemorative or specialty piece. And you can see it's got the black, the gold tone, the simulated pearl in the case, 22 LR. So again, in mint condition, just consider it mint condition. On Sierra, we didn't actually necessarily set up the table in order, but this is a Python from 1974. Has cylinder ring, but I mean almost nothing. And I think I've mentioned in other videos, when you have the box with it, you can almost assume that that it has had very little use. So, but we will cycle this. Locks up beautifully. Indexing is beautiful. Like there's just no issues there at all. Trigger is like butter. And as far as usage goes, boy, I'll tell you what. If somebody told me it's never been used, I'd be like, okay, maybe. If somebody told me it's had less than a box of rounds through it in its whole life, I'd be, yeah, I believe that 100%. That's the Sierra On the Tango, very nice piece, got gold tone accents. This is the double diamond with the packaging. So again, you almost can assume it's had very little, if any, use. It does have cylinder ring, so I'm not going to deny it has had a little bit of usage. Still has the protective disc in there. We'll take that out. And a tiny little evidence of use, but almost nothing. Indexing and lockup is beautiful. Finish is beautiful. It's as close to brand new as you can get. You know, and when you're dealing with something that's got a few years on it, it's just, you know, how would you expect anything different though? So because it's obvious there was a little bit of cylinder ring on that one, I don't feel guilty about rotating it. Once you have it home, you can do whatever you want with it. Here's a special piece, 350 Romeo. This is 3 restricteds in one lot. So you're going to have transfers for all of them before you get it. And of course, there's no reason to think any of them have been used. So you get the single action, you get the 1873, you get a Python, and you get a Dragoon. And all in this fitted box. And then you get the book on Colt over here. Has been possibly opened a little bit, but the spine really hasn't been cracked to speak of. Now, here's an interesting thing, though. This was bought by the estate, the consignor, from the U.S. and brought up, and yet this piece in my hand here, the Single Action Army, was not properly registered in Canada. So it somehow got across the border. I don't know who to throw under the bus, but I mean, poop happens. It somehow got imported. Those 2 got registered properly, and this one did not. So we've already sent in the documentation to just have it registered to the business, to us, and I don't anticipate any issues there. So, but it's just sort of a little something. As much as when you're dealing with firearms in Canada, a lot of I's get dotted and over dotted. This particular one, I think, somehow managed to fall through the cracks. Let's go start up here. I think we're more in order up here. On uniform, on the Colt from 1980, it's a longer one, 203 millimeters, and again, a little bit of cylinder ring there, but you don't see any evidence of significant use. The trigger and the action is going to be perfect. I already know that, but we're going to just show it to you. Hopefully you'll be able to get a sense. Just by the sound, you can get that confidence. And of course, it has the packaging, so you know that, again, my theory holds water most of the time, that when you have the packaging, you have something that's hardly been used or certainly taken care of. You can see it's been used. There's no disputing that there's some residue on there, and could even do with a bit of a cleaning. But overall, you know, what you see is what you get. No surprises. You're not going to get it home and be disappointed. On the King Cobra, this is Victor. Fairly polished blue finish and a little bit of cylinder ring there. So again, we're not going to feel bad about rotating it. And indexing is going to be perfect. This is a broken record. Nice finger groove grips. These are a little heavier trigger than the Pythons are, but still very nice. And so you're not gonna have any concerns there. Everything is cycling and working properly. A little bit of residue there if it's had a few rounds to it, you know. And again, revolver people, even with a beautiful piece, they're often not. They're not diligent about cleaning where that forcing cone is, and I've been guilty too. So I'm not pointing fingers at anybody other than myself as well. On the Smith & Wesson, the 686, this is the whiskey lot, non-fluted cylinder, so that's fun. Also does not show any real signs of use. I'm a big 686, 586 fan, so and I don't own one with a non-fluted cylinder, so that may change on the 22nd, because I do quite like this one, and it will fit in with all my holsters and whatnot that I have for my other ones that are, I mean, that cylinder is the indexing is just perfect. These are a heavier trigger than your Pythons, but they're still smooth. They're very nice, and like I say, I'm a Smith guy. Most of you know that, of course, that little key thing is a lock, is a built-in factory lock. Nobody ever uses them, and I'm not even positive that the key is included on this one, because it's not something that's ever on our radar. But again, buy with confidence. No issues on that one at all. 350 X-ray, you'll remember, and again, many of you, I don't mean to sound condescending, because great many of you are going to already know, but not everybody understands why this sight has that 4 positions. This is it's got a nice visible cylinder ring. It's been used. 686 or 586 in the blued finish, and this would have been the factory version of the PPC gun, of which we have a custom one of. I should have had them side by side to show you, and so this 4-position sight up here is for those four positions of that shooting discipline where you had, and again, I did it yesterday when we were doing the other video, 7, 10, 15, 7, I think it's 7, 15, 25, and 50 yards. So you would set each one of these adjustable front sight positions for elevation at those sights, because you're trying to hit something this big eventually at 50 yards with the revolver. And so the best way to change position is to just take the little pressure off it, go to the next position, and you can see, this is going to be hard for you to see, I understand that, but you see the number 2 on the dial there. So you're in number 2 position, and you got a number 2 on the Allen wrench set for the sight. So you just sort of take the pressure off it, get it into the next position. You're in position number 1, make sure it's seated well, and then your sight changes elevation. There's one position, that's quite low. Another position, let's pick that one, medium height. So it's probably not even properly set for that discipline. So, but this is a very nice gun. I would have been very excited to have this back in the day when I was shooting that competition. So a nice trigger. I have enough experience with these to think that this is a stock factory trigger and has not been tuned up. So even though it's quite nice now, it can easily be made a little bit nicer. You can even just get drop-in springs that make it quite nice. A lot of people will just loosen off the mainspring. That doesn't work. You end up with misfires and so on. So a little bit of use and handling marks on this one, but you can still buy with confidence. You're going to like that one. The next are your semi-automatics. They're both Colts. And on the Woodsman, on the Yankee lot, and checkered grips, blade sight. I don't see a whole lot of unusual wear. I just see normal wear on a piece like this. And this has been cycled. I've played with this one. I have dropped the hammer on it with a snap cap, and I'm not going to do that with a 22 rimfire. So mechanically, I'm comfortable with this one as well. I don't have any negativity to impart on you. And on this one, on Zulu Woodsman Sport, that one had the first one. Had a fully fixed sight, and this one is adjustable. And but again, very little. A little bit, maybe had a holster. He or she at some point had a little holster, because the very little wear there, which you would really only attribute to a holster, but it's not translated into the other areas or transferred into the other areas, so it's only minor. And mechanically, again, a very, very clean piece, and so bid on that one with confidence as well. So that's the whole 350 block for the restricted. We still have more to shoot. We're not necessarily doing them in order, so some things we get better at and worse at. And again, don't be afraid to give us your feedback, because we'll see if this is going to be worth it. It's just to try and get your eyes, or through my eyes, that you can get a little bit of a better sense than just a still picture and some words. So let's get this wrapped up and get another batch up for you.